Hey everyone, it's Evan Kirstel. I'm here on Friday with a fascinating guest, Andrew Miller, partner at True North Advisory. Andy, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great for a Friday. It's I've been on the road all week, which is a refreshing change. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's still morning here in Marin, out in California, but beautiful day and glad to be
Every
with
day
you.
is a beautiful day in Marin, California. Let's be honest.
It is. It is. It is.
We'll, we'll come back to that, but I'm really excited for this because we've got to know each other a little bit over the last few weeks, and we're going to spend some time talking about you and your biography, but also True North, a company that I'm really intrigued with, and you have some amazing clients and business partners. But before we dive into True North, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have a multi-decades long experience, to say the least, not to make it seem you're old, but as a CEO, VP sales, corporate director, managing director in public companies, PE-owned companies, venture-backed companies. So have you done it all, basically? Tell our audience a bit more.
Well, I always get nervous when you say multi-decades. It makes us seem old, but I guess in a perspective, through the course of at least my journey from a career perspective, most of my career has been spent on the enterprise side of life. The go-to-market experience really started with Cisco, and was really fortunate to be able to be with Cisco through that rocket ship and have the mentorship of John Chambers and his team. So learned a lot in a very short period of time. Even though it was 10 years, it was quite a rocket ship and quite a number of experiences, everything from government to enterprise to international to service provider to services. So it was kind of a 360 experience at Cisco. And that allowed me actually to be able to have my first CEO role at Tandberg, which was a Norwegian-based video conference company. And that an experience in itself, to live overseas and to experience the Europeans' perspective of Americans in terms of how we do business, was a little bit eye-opening. Maybe jaded at Cisco, but allowed me to have my first international CEO experience, and that was really fantastic and fun. It's probably one of my most memorable experiences in business to date.
That is fantastic. I'm sure there's so many great stories. So you are steeped in the video collaboration, video conferencing industry well before it became mainstream through the pandemic. What was that like? That was sort of an uphill battle, the adoption of video over that decade. But what was it like in the early days? Because you were kind of at the cutting edge of what was possible with video conferencing at that time.
In the early days, it was all about endpoints. It was very hardware centric. It was shifting the mentality of people in terms of meeting in person versus being able to meet over video. It was just the whole cultural aspect of people wanting to travel and be with people versus the ease of what we're doing today. So part of it was, very hardware centric. Part of it was changing the perception of how to meet and how to engage people. So it was uphill. There were multiple companies at that time vying for a very small addressable market. But at the same time, Tandberg was very progressive in terms of its vision of the cloud, vision of how to move to bring in more people and be able to utilize this technology in more verticals like government and healthcare. So it was building a business from $1 up, but it was a blast, and we became, ultimately acquired by Cisco for several $billions. So that journey in itself had I think a fantastic ending.
Indeed, and the journey didn't end with Cisco. You were a key member of the management teams at companies I admire a lot, including Broadsoft, a company that's storied and known to everyone in our space of collaboration, communications in the enterprise. What was it like being at that Broadsoft rocket ship?
Well,
At
that
the
was
birth of it.
I was on the early board member at Broadsoft prior to its IPO. At that time, I was the CEO of Polycom and had the chance to meet Mike Tesler. Actually, Polycom and Broadsoft were good partners. So I joined their board and helped actually craft that in a kind of prior to Broadsoft being acquired by Cisco. Seems like everything has come back to Cisco in my career. Helped craft out an enterprise story for Broadsoft to be able to balance it between carrier and enterprise. And Mike and I and the Broadsoft team engaged each other as partners at Polycom for a number of years. And that rocket ship at Broadsoft was a great story in terms of the whole UCaaS experience, and Broadsoft became the de facto leader in that space. So have been blessed with a lot of really good opportunities, some great companies, some great people, and great experiences both on the CEO roles and also board roles. So really kind of cumulatively added up to what we're really focused on now is taking all those joint experiences and helping entrepreneurs and founders build out their businesses just like we did ours in the early days.
That's fantastic. I love the idea of helping clients, helping early stage companies, helping founders succeed. I do a lot of that in social media. But tell us how True North Advisory sort of came together, coalesced around a team of founding partners. What was that story?
Well, there are 5 of us. So Mike Tesler, Scott Halpower, and Jim Tolan were all at Broadsoft as CEO, CTO, and CFO. Dino De Palma was the former COO of Acme Packets and then ran global sales for Broadsoft. And I, of course, you've already talked about a little bit about my background, being on the board of Broadsoft. When Broadsoft was acquired by Cisco, all of us kind of got together and said, so what's next? And we decided to kind of pull the band back together, as you could say. We all liked each other. We've all worked with each other for 25 years. We all have different expertises in our business in terms of how we can help clients. And we've been doing this now for 2 years and just are having not only a great time together as a team, but I think really making material differences in our clients in terms of their everything from product portfolio to growth trajectory on go-to-market to acting as an extension of their board, helping them with funding and strategic challenges. So it's been great to have people that you've worked with for so long and doing things that you feel are really helpful to people that were in your place at one point in time.
That's fascinating. It seems like True North is they're like the Avengers. Each of you has some unique superpower that you bring to the table. What's the goal with True North? Is it to be a kind of McKinsey-esque advisory company? Are you going for something new? You're pretty different from other consultants and management shops out there.
I mean, we have the benefit of being selective on the type of clients we want to work with. I think the difference between, I don't want to compare us to McKinsey or Deloitte or others, but there are 5 of us. We do all the work. We've been there before. We've done it. We're not out of school MBA students, or we've been there. We've been through these cycles of recession. We've been through the challenges of lack of funding. We've been through M&A. We've been through all the things that every founder is going to go through. And when you've done that in real life, it's much easier to be able to give expertise, and I think much more tangible and believable in terms of having participated in that. So we don't have an aspiration to be a huge consulting firm. We're really happy we have between 10 and 12 clients. Typically our clients, they're retainer equity based over 1 year, and then hopefully renewals. So we look at this as kind of helping them from the beginning to to the next step and to the next step, whether that's could be public offering, it could be an acquisition, it could be just staying private and continuing to grow, it could be VC, it could be PE money. But our focus is to have a small number of clients, make material differences, have fun as a team, and allow those companies to have outcomes that they could never foresee if it wasn't teaming with our partnership.
That's fascinating. And your clients are in multiple spaces, including unified communications and collaboration, but not exclusively. It seems like your interests are in customer experience, customer service. Where's your sweet spot in terms of helping clients?
Our focus really is in the CX space because we think
Hmm.
that not only is there a fast growing TAM, but that's how all kind of five of us grew up in that space. Um, and each one of us have unique capabilities. I'm more focused on enterprise, go to market. Dino and Mike are very focused on go to market in the carrier, the service provider space. Jim's very focused on helping companies in the finance, setting up the business, governance, the elements of more operational aspects. And Scott is probably the best in the business in terms of product evangelization, product positioning, pricing, packaging. So each one of us has a unique set of experiences, but the offering that we can provide to a client is really 360. And the number of clients that we have today, we're providing them the full spectrum of that experience.
I love it. And the pandemic was such rocket fuel for so many companies in the CX and communications collaboration space. Either during the pandemic, amazing companies were born and founded. Before the pandemic, companies that were working hard to get traction all of a sudden saw a surge in their uptake and usage. What's next? Because we are facing a challenging period, macro, micro. Do you have any particular thoughts on this next way forward with founders, startups, entrepreneurs as we see some troubled clouds on the horizon?
Well, having been through, all of us as partners have been through probably four or five iterations of the sky is falling in terms of you know global recessions or whatever type of political or economic crisis is. We tend to be more conservative, and a number of our clients did take that rocket ship over the past couple of years during the pandemic, and now they're seeing the reality of it's harder. The decision cycle is getting longer. The budgets are getting smaller. There's more trepidation. So how do you build out a more conservative business case, but at the same time, kind of anticipate the puck, knowing that that not only will we come out of this, but the work that you can do now to be better positioned when you come out of it is what we're all about. So in terms of, do you have the right channel strategy? Do you have the right vertical segmentation? Are you focused on the right geographic reach? Do you have the right product positioning? And how to be the best you can during these challenging times, and also as we eventually come out of that and spending becomes to be more looser, or more dollars available for these type of purchases, be positioned more favorably. So that's what I think that we can do the best for companies, is helping them with our past experience to be able to predict the future and then use that hockey analogy of anticipating the puck.
I love it. And you guys are distributed all over. I think you have an office in the DC area. You're in California. How often do you get together as a team or with clients in person these days?
Mike's in Austin, Dino's in Boston. I'm out in the Bay Area. Scott and Jim are both in the DC area, and Josephine, who's our business manager, is in the DC area as well. So we meet once a quarter. We just met last
Mhm.
week in Washington, DC. Prior to that, we met in Boston and Austin. We try to do it where we live, make it more intimate and family oriented. We try to do it at each other's house,
Nice.
um, and it's even though we see each other all day, every day on video, it's always great to have that dinner and that more intimate experience.
Yeah, no, it's been fun getting out into the world the last few weeks personally.
Yeah.
And, as a lifetime collaboration guy, what do you think about the companies moving back to the office? We're talking about hybrid work scenarios. Do you think, what's your take on the return to the office? Do you see it happening in mass, or are you people much more cautious?
I mean, I'm a big fan of hybrid. I like I like being social, so I like seeing people. I like
Mhm.
engaging. I think that's a great way to provide a tighter team orientation.
Mhm.
At the same time, living in the Bay Area, my commute used to be 90 minutes each way to work
Oi.
and longer back. So, I'm realizing the productivity of this more hybrid world. I know in the Bay Area, there's still a lot of hesitancy in terms of, full returning to work.
Mhm.
San Francisco is starting to come back with that, but I think there'll be this, dependent upon geography and dependent upon the culture of the company, I think there will continue to be this hybrid environment. And, we're going to get out, we at True North are going to get out quite a bit more in terms of
Oh, good.
participating in events. We have a full calendar for the end of the year in 2023. So our approach is to be, more visible, more engaged with clients at their site to get to know their teams as well, and be a great ambassador or ombudsman to this hybrid environment.
Yeah, it's super exciting to be in person at events again with, fewer restrictions. It's
Yes.
been really fun and, almost catching up with people you haven't seen in years. Um, yeah, so I look forward to, following all your activity out there in the real world at events. I guess finally, we were chatting earlier, we have some commonality in, having some roots in Baltimore. So were you born there? Is that right?
I was actually born in Washington D.C., but my
Okay.
my father was from Baltimore. Went to Forest Park High School, which you know well,
Yeah, yeah.
and only people from Maryland understand the value of a hard shell crab. Um, it doesn't relate anywhere else in the world. Maybe down in Louisiana, but
No, not
sitting
the
down
same thing.
for
Crawfish and no, not the same thing. It's
yeah, sitting down for dinner of hard shell crabs with Old Bay spice with newspaper spread out is only a Maryland thing. So when we first met, even though we've known each other for a long time, that Baltimore relationship even made me like you more.
yeah, well, thank you, and it's such a unique place. Of course, it gets terrible press for valid reasons around crime and violence and socioeconomic issues, but I still enjoy my trips to Baltimore. There are some wonderful, unique neighborhoods and some really good people down there. So
Right.
hopefully the city will turn around. In the meantime, congratulations on all the success, onwards and upwards. Look forward to seeing you out in the real world this fall and new year. Thanks for sharing your bio and all the insights.
Great, Evan. Good to see you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again.
Can't wait.
Okay.
Thanks, Andy.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.